after you attack and do your triple drive, if you pay the cost of Gooden, return him to your G zone, and you search for 2 grade 3s, if you reveal them and you have no open circles, your only option is to ride both of them in the rest position. So if you ride bad end on top of bad end, the break ride activates, but since you're in the middle of resolving good end skill, the break ride effect goes on standby. And then if you ride Jessica, another bad end, or whatever your option for grade 3 that you're going to search out as well, rides on top of the second bad end, that break ride effect also goes on standby. And so now that you've successfully completed good end skill, the 2 break ride effects that are on standby activate at the same time. So you choose your current Vanguard, which in this case here is Dudley Jessica, and then you get both instances of the break ride effect, which instead of plus 10,000 to the rest of your attackers, it now becomes plus 20,000 to all your attackers. Vanguard is Divine Hand, Good End Dragger, and I have 5 rear guards and I have 4 damage. I attack with Divine Hand, Good End Dragger. At the end of the battle, my heart is Bad End Dragger. I pay the cost, put Good End Dragger to my G Zone face up and search for 2 grade 3s. I have to choose one of them to call to open rear, but as I have no open rears, I'm unable to do this part, and I proceed to the next part of the ability. Now I ride the rest of the cards that I searched from the deck on top of my current Vanguard, which is Bad End Dragger. The rest in this scenario are the 2 cards I searched from my deck, as I was unable to call one of them to my field, but unable to call both to my one to my field. Excuse me. Both are written at the same time on Bad End Dragger. Both trigger the ability of Bad End Dragger, and according to 9.3.3 in the comprehensive rules, I choose one of them and move it to the soul, and put the other as my new Vanguard. Now I resolve both instances of the ability of Bad End Dragger and choose my new Vanguard twice. Is the above scenario correct? Best regards, Lord Vanilla, which you can't see because of the bottom part is cut off. And Bushy Road wrote, Dear Sir, Madam, thank you very much for your email. With regards to your query, yes, that will be the case as conditions for the ability of Bad End Dragger are met. Please do not hesitate to contact us if you have other queries. So, in the last video, I mentioned if you do the skill of Good End on a full field, you ride each one separately. That's not the case. You put them together, you ride both of them at the same time, basically. And then by comprehensive rules 9.3.3, you basically pick one of them to put into the soul, and you make the other one your current Vanguard. So what this means is you don't necessarily need to have a second Bad End Dragger come out of your deck in terms to satisfy the condition of break riding twice. It could be 2 Dudley Jessicas, it could be a Dudley Jessica and a Rising Nova, it could be 2 Juggernaut Maximums, it could be 2 Grateful Catapults, etc., etc. They don't necessarily have to be a Bad End Dragger if you don't want to. But what this does mean is that yes, you get the double break ride effect off as long as you do not have an open rearguard circle at the time of you trying to resolve Good End Dragger's skill.
Back at this again, aren't we? What's going on, team? Proof here, and today I'm coming at you with update the 3rd about Bad End Dragger. And the reason I'm bringing you this video, and the reason you probably noticed that I took down the other Bad End recent videos that I put up, is because there was some new information that came to light earlier this week that affected the Bad End break ride, and it was brought to my attention thanks to somebody from my Discord channel. I was looking through the comprehensive rules and kind of noticed that a rule stuck out that looked different, and I'm put up on the screen here just the post I put up on Vanguardians, and pretty much the rule is 10.6.2, which went into effect back in June, but that was the same time that gifts came out. And according to my friend Andrew, who's a Bushy Road judge, he said that there was just a massive overhaul of the rulings of the comprehensive rules, and this kind of flew under the radar because either hype around gifts, or because since it was all new, there was no red text as Bushiroad would normally do. When they change the ruling around, they would put it up in red text to make it stick out for you to read it. But that wasn't the case this time, so nobody really noticed it. And the ruling, as I mentioned before, is 10.6.2, which says if multiple cards with the same master are to be written simultaneously for some reason, that master specifies an order for those cards and rides them one at a time in that order. So what that means is that my previous video about the double break ride, as I talked about in one of the little snippets, was that previously we were thought to believe that you would ride it together at the same time, so that you would get double break ride and then get double force on top of that. So what that means is that you can either get a single break ride with 2 force gifts, or you can get a double break ride with 1 force gift. And the reason for that is because if you want the double break ride, as I showed you in the first snippet, as I thought it worked back in 2016 before I got the ruling update, or the emails from Bushiroad from other people, is that you would search out a bad end, ride a bad end on top of the previous one, and then ride your second grade 3 on top of the freshly written bad end. And then once you finish resolving good end, you select the present Vanguard to then get the double break ride effect. And that's the way it works now. That's the way it Bushiroad put into the rule book, so that's the way we need to go with it going forward. And not to discount Surreal for his victory, because he reached out to Bushiroad prior to the event, and I'm gonna give you the rulings here that he gave me on the screen, which pretty much confirmed that the way that we thought that it worked based on my second snippet with the simultaneous ride was the way that he was given ruling for Bushiroad going into the event, so he had a fresh ruling to present to the judges and to people from the source themselves. So it's unfortunate that that's kind of how the rulings have been updated now, but that doesn't mean the bad end deck is quote unquote dead. It's just a lot more, not a lot more, it's less potent in terms of killing, because you need to, instead of getting plus 30k across the front row, if you go with the double break ride 1 force setup, that means one side is plus 20k and the other side is plus 30k, depending on how you want to distribute your force gift. So it's not as potent as killing at low damage as the other version was, but it's still a nice little potent killing machine. So I still encourage people that have been interested in bad end based on the previous videos to still look into it, because there might be some new ground there that can be tilled as you discover the combos as well. So that'll do it for this video. Hope you enjoy. Hope I didn't make anybody too sad. And that'll do it for me. And until next time, peace, be easy.